Everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. We have our Tableau Public featured authors for 220 and 221. So unofficially, you could say you're Tableau Public featured authors for the year 220 and 221. So that's kind of cool. In addition to that, this is, I believe, our fourth special installment of the Tableau Public featured authors cohort. And it's exciting because we have such a great group of people that are very active in our community and passionate about Tableau. So to get started, we're going to talk about journeys of each of these people that are part of this new cohort. And we'll start with Chimdi. Chimdi, if you could provide some information about your Tableau journey and how you reached this point as a Tableau Public featured author. Thank you so much.
Hey, thanks, Adam. Um, as far as my journey goes, I would consider it still in the beginning phases, simply because I'd say around March, around when COVID started, that's when I really got a chance to jump on the e-learning at the Tableau site. So I went through a few learning paths on there and kind of got really excited about, what it can do. And prior to that, I was mainly focused on Power BI, ClickSense, Excel, using those for my analysis. So once I was done with that, I kind of started looking for, just more ways to continue to grow and get that, learning from everything. So on the Tableau website, I found the data fam and then found my way to Twitter. And around the time, what I was doing as far as experience wise, I was a business analyst. So I took a lot of the reporting stuff that I had done, transformed them into Tableau, and just every point that I was going through for me was just really exciting. So, Makeover Monday, that's where I really got introduced to DataFam and really got into doing a lot of Tableau. And I think what that did for me was get that feedback aspect of learning, which I think is really important, especially for a tool like Tableau where you have a huge community. And so, as far as my future, I think, I may have mentioned this to Adam previously in a separate conversation. I'm really considering a shift to a data focused role. And to support that, I've been sort of taking, some classes on the side on analytics, data analysis, et cetera, et cetera. And so I feel at some points I'll be comfortable enough to make that switch. And so for now, I would consider Tableau more of a hobby where, Makeover Monday and those other communities, they're really helpful because, participating with others, seeing their growth and, people at different levels getting to interact like that, I find is really encouraging for anyone at any level. And that's what I think, for me, I'm going to be focusing a lot of this year is participating and trying to grow and trying to learn and try to support and help, as many people as possible, while also sharing my work and kind of sharing my journey too and experiencing that with people. So hopefully that kind of gives you an idea of where things are at and where it's going. And honestly, I feel it's going to be amazing. Just if where it's come to so far is a reflection of where it can go, I think it's going to be awesome. And, I wish I had more to share about this, but all I can say again, it's just starting. So hopefully as time goes on, I can share that experience more with people as time goes on there. So yeah, thanks for listening to me share that.
Thanks so much, Chimdi. And as far as data to work with, what's your favorite type of data to work with? Do you like to create your own? Do you like to work with prepared data? How do you feel about data that's prepared versus creating your own?
I find so far with data that's already prepared, it's simple enough. You can jump in if you want to focus on analysis. I also think data prep, data wrangling, and being able to work with data is important. So for me, I've always preferred to do that just as part of learning. And, I picked up Python, so I tend to use that a lot with my spreadsheet work, building data sets. I've tried out some Tableau prep. And so that's kind of what I would say as far as data goes. I like to do a bit of coding for my data work, and Python does that well for me.
So do you plan to do that more in the future for your Tableau visits?
I've seen some people actually do some pretty cool things with Python and Tableau. I haven't really gotten too deep to explore that. I did learn a bit of that on the e-learning path there, but I definitely would say yes, that's eventually I would get into that. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Tim D. Next up, we have Pat Sarsfield. He does so many great visits, and it's exciting to see what he does week in and week out as far as his ability to make unique data visualizations. And I would love to hear your journey in the Tableau community as well as Tableau Public.
Adam, Saga, thank you guys for having me on VizConnect. Uh, my journey is I found Tableau Public. It's probably pretty standard. I found it at business school. I was introduced to probably a dozen other coding languages and softwares, but Tableau stuck with me. And so I really was fighting to get a Tableau license, and it took me about a year at work. So I spent an entire year trying to advocate or talking to my managers, trying to convince them that I could get off a student license and get an actual license at work. And it wasn't until I had a mentor at work who actually took me under his wing. And he advocated for me to get a license. He even pushed as far as to take me to the Tableau conference with him, which was TC17. So about a whole year before I actually was able to really work in Tableau for a good chunk of my role. And then about a year after that, I transitioned to a role where I work almost entirely within Tableau as a developer. And then a year after that, I started actually leading trainings within the company and mentoring others. And then probably about 2019, mid 2019, early 2020, just before the pandemic, I started really getting active on Twitter, and that's when I saw the most growth for myself. It was unbelievable. I mean, I didn't think I had that much room to grow. And I think as Chimney was talking about, just seeing what others can do, like kind of realizing what the adjacent possible is, it's kind of mind blowing to see what people are doing. And I mean, I've probably been using Tableau pretty regularly for about 3 years, and to see how much things have changed in that time is astounding. That's my journey.
Thank you, Pat. And as far as you balance data art and data analysis very well, how do you approach it from that perspective, meaning that you do focus on data analysis, but then the art comes through? So do you think of the art first, or do you think of the data analysis first?
I think of the data first, but oftentimes it's regarding topics that I'm very interested in. So I tend to pursue things that I personally am interested in. I mean, I personally, I don't really care if other people don't like what I design, because it's for me first. I hope other people do, of course, but I mean, I really do it for myself first. And that took a few years. I think it took me about 2 years to develop my own style, and that's still developing, but cross training in other disciplines. So I kind of treat this like martial arts, where like I'm looking at trying to get a little bit better every day. I'm trying to craft my own style, but I realize there are basics and things I need to get early on, and then you can build off that. So I kind of lean into things that I like. So I like UI UX stuff. Like I like using Figma personally, but I know Sketch and Adobe XD are used by a lot of other people. I like Blender. Now I'm getting into Blender, SQL. I mean, just things that you want to learn. It doesn't always have to be Tableau, but you can take those same skills, then intermix them with your data vises and really see things really pop over time, which is, it's really amazing to see that you think you're not really wasting your time learning something else, especially if it can complement Tableau well. Yeah, I really do like focusing on, I like the art. I'm Judith Becker, other people like that are really influential to me to show that data visualization can be not just a science, but it can also be an art form. And so I think at work, I work in insurance finance, which is not like the most creative outlet. So I really look at Tableau Public as being a place where I can really show part of my personality and really invest in things that I really like to do personally.
That's awesome, Pat. Thank you so much. And obviously, your style has been a focus of Tableau in the community as well, because when people see your stuff, they're excited because it's a little bit different. You have a different approach, and you are developing a signature. So it's exciting to see that, and that growth and that passion show through the data. So thank you so
Thanks,
much,
Adam.
Pat. Next up, we have Jennifer Dawes. I actually interviewed her and Dee last week for her data. And it's exciting to see that you're part of the Tableau Public Featured Author cohort this time. You do a lot of great work in the community and your blog is blowing up. So it's exciting to talk to you about your Tableau journey and to see where you came from and where you're coming at this point. So thank you so much for joining, Jennifer.
Thank you so much for having me. So a little bit about me, for those of you that I haven't talked to, I think my journey was a little bit different. So my background is in HR. I have a master's in human resources. I never really knew a career in data visualization was really out there. So the exposure wasn't there for me. But I have held many analytic roles within my HR career, but I use mostly Excel. So it wasn't until starting maybe 4 years ago, I started working at Unifund with Jeff Schaefer, Danushki, and Kevin Flerledge, where I was introduced to Tableau. And I'll say that at first it was kind of a hobby more than it was a real learning journey for me. So as far as how long I've used Tableau, probably 3 years, but I don't think I took myself serious or really saw the growth until maybe the last year and a half. And that was when I think my role transitioned. I'm now an analyst and working on our BI team. And I've engaged more with Tableau Public. I've engaged more with the community. And I think everybody has said it. The growth that you see just from learning from each other is unmatched. So yeah.
So Jennifer, what are you excited working on in the near future for Tableau?
Oh man, I feel like I always have 100 different ideas. I'm somebody that Kevin and Danushki, we all kind of laugh at each other at times. I'm somebody that has like 100 different projects running at once. Maybe one of them makes it to the final cut. But in terms of just what I'm looking forward to in the future, I think Danushki and I are so excited and ready for her data. I'm excited for 2021. I'm only just new in my role as of August of last year, so I just feel like the sky's the limit right now. One thing that we're passionate about is bringing that exposure. So I mentioned I didn't have those mentors early on in my career to really expose me to the various different opportunities. So just bringing more awareness and connecting with more people so that they know about Tableau, the Tableau community, to help them see the potential that we're seeing as well. But yeah, there's a lot of things that I'm kind of excited about working on for 2021.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. How about Irene? We'll take Irene at this point. So Irene, you're a Tableau Public Featured Author. You've been more active in the recent months, and it's exciting to see your progression as you go along and then get selected as Tableau Public Featured Author for 2020/2021. So if you could please explain your journey at this point and what you are excited about in the near future.
I think I started Tableau pretty recently, so I really got active in September, and it was because I was trying to make a career change because I really wanted to get into consulting and be a data analyst. And I think Tableau was such a great opportunity because I was able to do that within like only a few months. I was able to learn Tableau and get actually a role using Tableau. And I think that's amazing because I had no computer science skills. That was just not my area. But I found a community and it really helped me grow. And I think it's really amazing.
So have you made any Tableau resolutions for 2021? What projects do you want to get more involved in this year and expand your skill set?
I think I want to start doing project health. I want to get more involved because right now I'm mostly doing Makeover Mondays, but I want to get also involved in other projects like project health, also R&Bs. stuff like that. I think is great. Yeah.
So as far as Makeover Mondays are concerned, what excites you about working with that data? How has that helped you grow?
I think what was exciting is because you learn every time you analyze the new data, it's just different, it's a different story. And so you have to think about how am I going to analyze it? How am I going to visualize it? And it's interesting because I'm trying to learn new practices every time I do a data set. So I think it's really helping you, like, in terms of the learning curve is just upward, because when you just get to practice a lot, it just helps you.
Awesome to hear. Thank you so much, Irene. I can't wait to see your progression. I mean, you only worked with it a couple months and look at where you're at right now. That's so cool. So thank you so much, Irene. So Rondeath, next up we have Rondeath. He's been in the community for several months now, and he's been creating a lot of data visualizations, and he balances data art and data visualization, and he's working toward improving his skills in both those areas, and he's improved enough to become a Tableau public featured author. So Rondeath, if you could provide a brief explanation as to your Tableau journey and what you're excited about working on in 2021.
Thanks, Adam. Yeah. It's a pleasant surprise. It's not expected. So I actually am a bachelor. I completed my bachelor of engineering in the 2017. After a year, I got joined in the web technologies. So initially, I started my career as a SQL developer. After a few months, I got moved to the Tableau role. I just used the Tableau for almost 1 year. I just used the Tableau only for professional work. So at the time, I don't know that we do have Tableau is just not a tool. We do have a lot, but we need to explore more into the Tableau. Then only we can learn a lot of things. So in the middle of 2019, I came across a fantastic visualization in LinkedIn. It was by Praveen Kumar Ji. So it's the dashboard is like a Superstore sales performance. So I got really impressed with his work. So then I reached out to the Pradeep, and he told about this Dataform community. So then I joined this Dataform community, and then got inspired by the tons of works done by the excellent people like Ken, Kevin, and lots of people. And then I started participating in the Makeover Monday project, Ironwiz, and the project HealthWiz, and then started getting feedback from the peoples. So it's a continuous process. So even I'm getting feedbacks from people like Kevin. So it's like the only thing I can tell is like we can improve the Tableau skill only by means of practicing. So that's what I did. That's what I experimented myself when I started learning the Tableau. Apart from that, I want to thank all the Dataform community people for the continuous support, because you can learn anything if you join this Dataform community. The people will direct you in the correct way. So you can learn anything. If you have any doubts, like you can reach out to the people. They will provide the correct solution. For example, if you want to learn a particular chart, right? For example, I am very just want to experiment with a different kind of charts. So at the time. So I used to reach out to the Kevin and some people, but they gave me some blog link. So it would be very easy and helpful for me to learn such a new things. So that I always suggest my friends and even my colleagues to join this Dataform community and learn from the excellent people around the world. So thanks to everyone for this wonderful opportunity. Thanks, Adam, and thanks, Sagar. So this is my journey of Tableau. That's all.
Thank you so much, Rondeath. And as far as using LinkedIn versus Twitter, a lot of people in our community primarily focus on Twitter. What are some of the benefits of using LinkedIn for your Tableau work?
Yeah, I think in LinkedIn, like you can the LinkedIn is the place we can meet the professional directly, right? So, for example, I do have a proposal from some of the people directly like that your visualization is very good. So if you are interested in some of the looking for job change, and they are like, you will get more opportunity. To be simple, like you will get more opportunity.
Thank you so much, Ranjit. It's nice to meet you virtually. So next up,
Thanks,
we
Adam.
have, thank you. Next up, we have George. George is coming in, and he's part of the Tableau Public Featured Author cohort, and we're excited to talk to him. So if you could share some of your journey with us, and please provide any Tableau resolutions you have for 2021.
Absolutely. So first of all, guys, thanks so much for having me. I think that what you've started here in general with VizConnect is great, and I think that the initiative to bring all of us together is amazing, because I really wanted to meet some of my fellow featured authors, and I think it's great to have an official sort of like get together. Well, unless you guys have been having gatherings behind my back. I'm just joking. But so yeah, what can I say about my Tableau journey? So I've been working with Tableau for about 3 years now. So I've been working as a data consultant for a company that basically specializes in Tableau and Alteryx. And so, I would say at this point that my journey in data analytics in general was a little bit unexpected, because prior to doing my master's, I basically had a background in economics, and analytics seemed a little bit far at the time. So if you had told me 4 years ago that I would know Tableau and have met all the people that I have met, and be part of an analytics group a few years after, I wouldn't have believed it. So I think that's the biggest takeaway point that I would want to give to anyone who's potentially like thinking about how to get started with analytics. It's really not as hard as you would think, and I think the data fam for me in particular was a huge motivator, and in terms of inspiration, it was my go-to source, and I feel like I've really progressed in the last few months through that. So I guess one thing I would like to say about my journey, and here's where I think I draw a distinction in my mind between sort of like traditional business intelligence that a lot of people use Tableau for, and the more creative data vising that the data farm is really good with as well. And that's when I was talking about inspiration. It's the more creative stuff in particular that I look for. And for me, that's where I really fell in love with Tableau, because I never imagined that it would allow me to do so many out of the box things that I didn't even know existed. And so going forward, I think for 2021, my goals are to sort of progress in that aspect, learn a few like tricky charts perhaps, and just participate in Makeover Monday more. And yeah, that's it. In general, I just want to say that for 2020, for me, discovering DataFam and being part of this community has been definitely the biggest highlight. And I just want to thank everyone for the huge support and guidance that they've showed me in the last few months.
Awesome. Thank you so much, George. I have a question for you, and my question is that you use Tableau at work, correct?
So sorry, can you repeat that? I use what?
You use Tableau at work, correct?
Oh, that's correct, indeed.
So when you're working on your public visits, how does that approach differ, and how has that impacted what you do at work?
That is a great question. So, at face value, looking at what I do at work, which is traditional dashboarding or report building, is what some people might call it. It's very different in terms of the methods that you use, especially for chart building, to what you would do in let's say like creative data vising. So I think the approach is different at work in that, well, I think a lot of it is not visible directly. So it has to do with the way the data is prepared mostly. So at work, a lot of the times the data will be prepared, or you might have to prepare it yourself. But the main difference that I find in creative data vising is that you need to employ more creative solutions. So I'm talking about very creative data modeling approaches or data identification and stuff like that, which at the end of the day allow you to create some of the non-out-of-the-box charts that I mentioned earlier. So I think that would be the main distinction that I would draw between the two. But as well, in terms of I think what the way I view Tableau and what I really love about it is that it allows me to bring in a more creative aspect of myself into something that most people would consider to be, very, analytics is not something that you would hear the word artistic with a lot of the time, and I think that's not right. And I think all the people in this panel and all the people in the data farm are very creative and very artistic, because you are creating something visual, which is very beautiful and informative to look at the same time.
Excellent. Thank you so much, George. That was great to hear.
Thanks for listening to me.
You're welcome. Next up, we have Haley. Haley is another member of our Tableau Public Featured cohort. And I believe you're new to Tableau, but you've been knocking out of the park and being part of the community. So I'm excited to hear the beginning of your journey and what you are looking forward to working on in 2021.
Thank you. I started using Tableau like 2 years ago on my last semester at school, my bachelor's. It was through an honors program, and I'm like, this is so cool. And then I started my job. I used Tableau for my work, and I used Tableau at work for like an year without creating my own account in Tableau Public. And then last summer, 2020, I had to stop working for like 3 months over the summer because of my visa status. And then I'm like, I really need to start Tableau Public. And I still can't believe how easy it was to join this community. I just made my Twitter account, just started one V's with this random data set. I still remember it was vegetarian menu or something. So it happened like that for over the three summer. I was so actively participating, learning so much. I found myself so like absorbed in Tableau, creating my own Tableau business. I spent all my those 90 days. I spent all my time in Tableau, but then I started working again, and then I started my master's. So it's been like I'm trying to find my balance between all of them. I have to it's hard to prioritize a few things sometimes, and then ignore it. I have to do this, and then I have to come back. So for 2021, I want to participate in Makeover Monday and visit, over the courses. And I know there's so many data sets out there, so much interesting ones. And then I wanna make my own videos sometimes that I personally get interested in. So maybe 2021, if I want to make time and I can make my own videos that with the data set that I found, but still, I want to participate in Makeover Monday as much as I can. And yeah.
Thank you so much, Haley. My question for you is, when you, if somebody's looking at this right now and looking and determining whether they want to join the community and be part of our community, what would you say to them if they're not sure whether they should join our Data Fam community on Tableau, on Twitter or LinkedIn?
I really want to say just do it, because I just did it and I never regret it. It was more than this is more than just an opportunity. I think it means more. And if they like designing, looking at the data, making charts, I think this is a really great start. I actually recommended joining Tableau FM to one of my coworkers who just graduated college too. So he's like, oh, I have to check it out. And I was like, you should, please. This is something that you should never like miss out. So I really want to recommend, and maybe I really want to show how, like, a person just like me who was just as a student who doesn't have much background in this professional field, I can show him, even a person like me that like same as you, I have done this so far, and this is my community in Twitter. So I definitely want to do that, and maybe that I think that's my approach.
Thank you so much, Haley. And this is a question for everybody, and we'll work backwards this time. A question that came up is, how has Tableau Public and the community initiatives helped shape your ability to work in Tableau as far as your growth is concerned?
First of all, when I was creating my a few pieces in Tableau Public, I didn't look at any guidelines, instructions, or how to create great visualizations. I just started, and then after a few months, I've been realizing I just sometimes just try to be just creative. I want to make something that no one has made before, but at the same time, it should be a good chart, good visualization to tell the story. And then I've been realizing I'm kind of lacking more skills and more analysis in myself when I was creating my visualization. I am losing that point, like the true point to tell the story. So I think in Tableau Public, I can do both. While I'm seeing people's so much creative work, but at the same time, there's so many blogs and books that I've found from people's tweets. I started reading Storytelling with Data. So I think in that perspective, it's a really great place to find what you really want to do with your visualization, but at the same time, what other methods are there that other people try already. So I think, yeah, Tableau Public has been like that for me.
Thank you so much, Haley. And that question is for you now, George. What role has Tableau Public and community initiatives had on your personal journey?
I think the impact has been huge, honestly. I think that, and again, drawing perhaps a tangent to what you asked me before about the difference with work, I think being part of such a big community, in terms of how you approach problems, it already has an impact because you already have the back of hundreds of people that have tackled similar things before, that are very willing to share their tips and tricks, and already you find yourself at a much higher level because you're not acting as an independent unit anymore, but you're acting as part of a group. So I think that's amazing. I think the other thing that has really made a difference in my day-to-day is first of all, getting on Twitter. I wasn't a Twitter user before. I literally went on Twitter for Tableau, and that has really made a difference because inevitably you just keep coming across posts that are relevant, and without realizing, on your free time as well, you just end up learning new things all the time, and that has a knock-on effect on what you do at work if you're working with Tableau at work. So yeah, in general, I feel that the last 3 or maybe 5, I don't know how many months I've been part of the community have really transformed the way I work, and I feel like I've had the most growth during these 3 to 5 months than ever before.
Excellent, George. Thank you so much. And Ranjit, the question goes to you now as far as the impact of community initiatives and Tableau Public has on your personal journey.
So to be simple, the quality of works get improved based upon, because in Tableau Public, when you are creating some visualization that is out of your professional work, you will try to produce your work with more quality and with and I used to give maximum effort for it. So first thing is like the quality of work will definitely improve if you start practicing on the Tableau Public. And also like maybe if you are going for any interviews or something, like you will have the proof, like instead of telling the people, I know these many things, you can show your Tableau public profile as a just an example. So it's the people will know definitely, like, oh, okay, is a person with kinds of skills. So apart from this, Tableau public changed a lot of things. And like, to be very frank, I just start to be, I'm very active in Tableau public for only for 10 months, I think. But I can see my improvement from the first phase of the Tableau public to my current base. So that's it.
Thank you so much, Rajit. Next up, we have Irene. Irene, if you could provide us with your explanation as to the impact community initiatives and Tableau Public has had on your growth.
I think, firstly, in terms of inspiration, because every time I do, for example, Makeover Mondays, and I publish it, and then I look at other people's work, and I'm like, oh, that's amazing. I didn't even think about that. And it's just, you get more and more creative because you see other people's work, you see how they approach the same thing you had. And I think also being able, for example, if you want to design a chart and you don't really know how to go about it, you can just find it because there are so many blogs, so many tricks, so many things you have within the community. And I think that really helped me learn. And also the creative part, because you also learn within the Tableau community that you can use Tableau, but you can also use other tools. For example, I think Figma really helped my design skills because I find that, I don't know, I just like how it blends with Tableau. And without the community, I wouldn't have known because I think it was 3 months ago, I read Judith Baker blog and I realized, oh, she was using Figma. And I was like, oh, I've seen the community was talking about Figma, and then I learned it. And yeah, I think it's great to be part of a community because you get more motivated and also you can express yourself. You get to have communication going with hundreds of people around the world. It's amazing.
Thank you so much, Irene. Next up, we have Jennifer. Jennifer, if you could give us a little explanation as to the role that community and Tableau Public has had on your personal growth while you're developing your skills as a Tableau data visualizer.
Absolutely. I don't think that anything has had a larger impact on my growth. Honestly, before I started engaging with the community, I think I was very limited, and it's the element of you don't know what you don't know, right? I think I was just limited in the capability, the possibility, the creative inspiration. It's like giving somebody a blank canvas and they've never painted before. You kind of get stuck. But joining the Tableau community certainly has given me all of the visual inspirations and just seeing what's possible. And I think beyond that, it's kind of charged me with, okay, but what's next? What else can I do? I see they were able to do this. I didn't think about that. I want to see if I can take it one step further. So I just think any kind of creative environment, you're better when you're around, I think, other creative people, because it's just this, we're pouring into one another. So yeah, it's been a huge, huge impact for me.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. Next up, we have Pat. Pat, what role has the community and Tableau Public has had on your personal growth?
Yeah, thanks, Adam. I think the community and really the initiatives, the things like Makeover Monday, Workout Wednesday, Sports for Sunday, those things really help people get started. Especially it brings you into Tableau Public, it brings you onto Twitter. And because I think like George, I only really joined Twitter for Tableau. Because the community is so overwhelmingly positive, it's almost shocking because I was maybe very resistant to get on Twitter. It was like the last form of social media. I was like, I'm not going on. That's so toxic. I don't want to be a part of that. But when you, at least in this small subsection, a small subgroup, it's unbelievable how you get this great feedback, people recognize you, they encourage you. And I think that's a huge part of what's really nice about Tableau Public is that you're getting recognition from an informed peer group. That's an informed peer group. People actually know what they're looking at, and they say, "Hey, this is really good." You think, "Well, it's great." It doesn't really matter what a director says, because they may not really know what they're talking about. They may be looking at a report from 25 years ago, so their opinion, well, it should mean something at work. It's very nice, to get their feedback. But when someone that you actually look at and you follow, or you've read their book, says something positive about what you're doing, that means way more than I think somebody that may not have as much insight into what you're actually doing. Now, again, it's all good. All feedback is good, but some means a lot more to me, at least personally. So that's kind of how my big takeaway from Tableau Public, the initiatives, and the community itself.
Thank you so much, Pat. And now we have Chimdi. Please explain the impact of the community and its initiatives and Tableau Public has had on your personal growth as far as a Tableau data visualizer. Chimdi, you're on mute.
Okay, can you hear me now? Awesome. Yeah, so I think it's similar to what a few of my fellow authors have already said there. I find it raises your comfort level with whatever you're doing. So if you've previously had limits for yourself in what you think you're capable of, those are going to instantly disappear, once you join the data fam. And I think a big part of that is you're seeing a lot of people try different things that maybe you may have thought of trying, but you just didn't want to even venture there. And a big part of the value that comes with that is you're going in that direction. There's like a whole bunch of people there with you. So if something isn't clear on your journey, you're literally never going to hit a stopping point. And I think that's huge as far as growth journeys go. You don't want to stall. You want to keep progressing. And the data family is amazing for that, because even as far as the community events go, I find that they're kind of even layered in skill levels. So, Makeover Monday, very introductory. Workout Wednesdays, a bit more technical. You're going to have to stretch yourself a little bit. Iron Quest, Iron Viz, storytelling, all that type of stuff. So it's really a good way, like if you really want to challenge yourself and, you want to remove a lot of the fear and limitations of putting stuff out there, and publicly trying to share stuff, that's going to happen to you there. So the confidence you will get from that in yourself, the self-assuredness, the support, and it's like a cyclical thing where I find myself wanting more to support and help others the more I get supported, and that trickle down effect is going to be beneficial for everyone. So all in all, I think it just get in there. You'll find yourself, you're going to grow faster. Like everyone has already mentioned, you're going to grow faster because, specifically like Jennifer said, you don't know what you don't know. But now once you see that it's there, you can come up with a plan like, okay, maybe not today, but eventually I'm going to get there. And so just the possibilities are endless. I encourage people all the time, even some of my friends that are not a part of it, they see some of what I do and they're like, that's awesome. I'm like, if you want to kind of get to doing stuff like this, here's how to do it. So none of them have joined yet, but maybe fingers crossed, 2021 might be the year to get them in there. So yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for participating in our special presentation of the Tableau Public Featured Author Cohort. It's exciting to hear your journeys and very inspiring to a lot of people. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.